Serious people who were threatened to be blackmailed, extorted, but declined the offer. What happened? Left my Google Drive account signed in on a university library computer. Person who found it said they'd delete my thesis unless I sent them nudes. I did not. Then had to redo my entire undergrad thesis in 3 weeks. I was successful and have never, ever left myself logged in anywhere ever again. I hope they went on to have a horrible life. Didn't happen to me, but my brother-in-law told us that his Facebook account was hacked and someone stole sensual pictures he sent to his wife and was threatening to release them to his entire friends list unless he paid $100.00. He deactivated his Facebook, and so did my sister. Days later, people start getting messages from this person on Facebook looking for him. This person wrote down everyone's names he shared a last name with and messaged them exclusively. Turns out the rotten duck was sending pictures of himself in compromising positions to a cam girl that he was spending a little bit too much time with online. Anyways, I guess the moral of the story is, sometimes when you call a person's bluff, it gets exponentially worse. Oh, and don't cheat on your wife with a cam girl. Years ago, some guy online seemed to be obsessed with me. I had a relatively popular website, and I was posting some news stories that involved me or close friends that were relevant to what the site was about. I'm pretty sure it all started shortly after I posted a video from the national news of a good friend who was actually really attractive, and she was using what the site was about. I was getting lots of messages, texts and emails from people I didn't know at that time, so that wasn't uncommon. So it took me a bit to realize this guy was tracking down a bunch of my accounts on various forums, social media, and would create multiple accounts and pretend to be different people from different countries and would ask a bunch of questions. On their own, those questions were innocent, but when you add them all up, it was actually useful information to gain more intel on me. What I considered high security accounts and low security. I'd be getting a bunch of failed password attempts on the high priority, as well as gained access on social media I considered that low priority. One day I find my website defaced with a countdown timer when it said that the site will be destroyed. I also got an email from the guy saying how much he knew about me and that he would be sending all sensitive materials he discovered to all my contacts unless I sent him $5,000. I looked at everything I knew he must have had access to and saw the worst picture was of a girl I was into who sent me a picture of her naked in bed laying chest down, so the most you'd see was part of her ass. So I just fixed the website, changed all passwords, blocked him and didn't respond, essentially calling his bluff. That was the last I heard of this person. Had a similar experience and I 100% agree and supported having everything to do with your content you made available. After going viral for something around 2008, I had quite a following for it, something video game related. Just young guys thought it was cool. I had a hoist block on my website, so people couldn't figure out who I was. Fans reached to the web host to find out my name. Obviously they didn't provide it. I found threads of people collectively putting information they gathered on public forums. If you Google the name you go by on the website, bet you'll find similar things. But just like when you go to sell something online like a car people want, you always get some crazy stories out of it. But in your case you turn it up to 11, and it's hard to grasp for many people the level of dedication and creep factor people can achieve. I know firsthand what you went through. As a result, I do things very differently. Like I delete my Reddit account after few months and make a new one due to post history being shown. Doesn't take a lot of pieces of the puzzle to get a general idea about a person and why they live. I have no idea what the purpose of it all is for and the intent, but I considered it a threat against my family and do my best to keep online presence clean and pick random names without much meaning for any public facing communication. My old landlords tried to extort me and they thought I owed them. I withheld rent legally in my state under the advice of an attorney. The landlords knew they didn't have a case in court, and we did try to settle multiple times, but never could come to an agreement because they were too greedy. They made threats to ruin my credit by taking the owed rent to a collections agency. I told them to go duck themselves and packed my shit and left the apartment, and they haven't done a thing. Had a boss at a fast food place who said he would promote me to supervisor if I helped him out. I, being young and dumb, didn't know what that meant and said, sure, what do you want me to do? Then he make a sexual comment about what color my panties were today. Then I was like, okay, this is weird now. My friend said I shoulder turned it around and said, how about you make me supervisor or I'll tell cooperate what you just did. But I quit instead. Duck that place. My husband and I went to help someone get squatters off his farm in exchange for us taking it over and owning it someday. Long story short, it was an illegal cannabis farm. My husband and I made it legal and compliant, licensed with the county and state of California. The owner never kept his word. We were extorted for crop money and rent. Even though we weren't living there, we have a home 500 miles away. We were working there. We thought if anyone should be making money, it was us. But he didn't want us to make anything. And all the money we gave him for 3 years, hundreds of thousands of dollars, didn't matter to him. We weren't gonna own the farm. So we surrendered our licenses and left. He can't do anything now. If anything, we could exact revenge on him. But we don't have time for that. We know that we got the best of him because he can't get that farm illegal. We have the last laugh. We still have our licenses. We just need a new spot, and the CDFA and the other agencies will fire him up. In a very heated fight with about 15 guys and their girlfriends, I punched a girl in the face, breaking her nose as she was about to shank someone. There was no time for grabbing her wrist or subduing her normally. We also had one person between us. She made threats she'd send her brothers on me if I didn't pay up for an OSA job, and kept saying her brothers know my face and wanted to get me. So I called the cops on her right there and told them what she said. They arrested her after someone on site told them I said what she said. She was out in 2 days and back at it, wanting money and making a fuss. I personally called her brothers and told them what she did with a knife, and that if I see their faces in any way I don't like, I'll call the cops. They were deterred, but she was not. I'm usually a nice guy and not someone who finds joy in punching anyone in the face. One day on my way home, I see her bullying my sister, pushing her face down into the snow and sitting on her back. So I grabbed her and tossed her off. She once again pulled a knife, and in the heat of the moment I swiftly knocked her ass out again and called 911. She was arrested, but got a very light sentence. I was also granted her not being allowed in the city I work in, or within 400 feet. Her whole family had to move and lost their store because of this. I honestly felt bad for the family because it was a bunch of nice people with one ass ducking this up. No one wants to be strong-armed, so I wasn't keen on it and declined. That, and I had all the proof I needed that it wasn't possible. Just a green officer trying to make a name for himself in a dirty way. As a result, it went to court, and the judge prevented the evidence from being used in court. They have the power to do that for any reason. Had it been allowed, it would have destroyed the case pretty quickly, which is why it was prevented. Your word versus the police officer. Who is a jury going to believe? But that's by design. End result, I took a deal on something I didn't do and wasted about 15k all said and done. What I learned is the system isn't about justice, but just getting win. My life changed drastically after that. Figure if that can happen at any time out of the blue, better to get some value out of that and live the best life I can. So that's what I do until the next time, hoping I can skirt by without it happening again. But anytime I see one in the rear view or the side of the road, my butt clenches and I prepare for the worst. In 3 weeks I have a visit to get my affairs in order to ensure my niece receives everything. If there is another one out there looking to score again, least I can get that out the way now while available. Happened a few years ago, but after you experience a life-threatening thing like that, you don't soon forget it and always worry. But at least this is one less thing to worry about now. All about moving forward any way you can. My father-in-law made a deal to make monthly down payments of $1,500 instead of full price of $50,000 for a place to have his first Slaughtergeziness. He was new in the country and didn't read the news, but the street the shop was located in was just about to close for 18 months, and the guy he was buying it from knew the MF wanted to have an income bound by contract, so he wouldn't go bankrupt and was trying to trap my father-in-law. When my in-law found out, he contacted local restaurant and offered a deal. First they would try his meat, and if they liked it, they would pay in advance, like a refill. If they didn't like it, they got the sample meat for free and that was it. The first restaurant got 15 kilos of meat and my in-law left the place and headed straight home. As he entered his house, the restaurant calls and puts in an order for 50 kilos more, with a big payment of $2,500 in advance. By the end of the day, another restaurant called and put in a payment of $5,000. So what should have been an exploit of a hard-working, honest man became said man's blessing. He worked from his shop, got a lot of deals, and made more money than he ever could have imagined during those 18 months. In the end, the seller wanted to become partners, but my father-in-law bought a new and better shop and sold his part of the place with a profit after the value went up because the street got really nice. Thanks for watching. Consider subscribing for more videos.